You know, I had a kid one time who was on his phone during a youth lesson that I was giving, and I said, "What are you looking at?" You know, assuming that he's playing a game, or assuming that he's doing something he ought not be. And he said, "Well, you said a word that I didn't know, so I was looking it up." And so after that, I gave him a computer and a projector. And so while I taught those lessons, I said, if something I say is intriguing to you and you want to search that for everybody to see it on the screen, and and we can make that segue, we'll go to it. So I think embracing anything that increases connectedness is always good, and if it can connect us to our responsibility in a local fashion, in a global fashion, that's always a good thing. But as far as parent-child relationships, you know, if you let your kid have a Snapchat account, you probably ought to get a Snapchat account and Snapchat your kid. I found that there's ways to embrace the connectedness that those technologies can bring us, and then there's healthy habits. One way that we've done that is and we just recently started this. I had a young man, his mom came to me and said, "My son didn't know what you talked about last Wednesday because he was on his phone the whole time." I know that because he texted me in the middle of the service, and I got on to him about it, and we had this conversation. And so I made her son, I didn't make him the usher, I invited him to be the usher, and he took up an offering. And instead of money, he received everyone's cell phone as an offering, and then what we're doing. And so you can make that a part of our act of worship. I'm going to give you my undivided attention, Lord. I'm going to give you that. And I think that you can work that into family dynamics around the supper table. There's family vacations. There's ways to make that distraction work for you, but you have to be creative about it. And I think that's an important thing that youth ministry can help teach a family how to do. But ultimately, that's something that has to be practiced and modeled for the kids on a regular basis if it's going to be of value to them. Most parents, when they come to me, they're struggling with the connection to their children, and you're kind of the go-between sometimes, and most of the time you're the one that they believe that their kid is telling you the things that they're not telling them. And so I think for youth pastors, for youth ministers, have an open line of communication with parents, because as much as those kids want to know that they matter within the great scheme of things and that they need that connection, parents are hungry to have a connection with their kids, and not all parents understand how to make that happen. And so we then become the facilitators for those connection points, and so we can help the parents understand what questions are hot topics and what aren't, and what not to fight about and what to fight about, and where their kid is standing, and maybe help those conversations to move from battles to intimacy, to a connectedness between mom and dad and their child. Because I think sometimes when we leave parents out of the loop, what we're communicating to the whole situation is that kids need a professional to disciple them. And the truth is that parents are supposed to be the primary in that, and when we don't have a connection to the parents, then we're saying that somehow our plan is better than God's plan, and He designed it, for parents to be involved in their kids' lives. Those shared chromosomes are more important than we'll ever be able to measure, and so keeping parents in the loop and tying them in and helping kids have a good connection to their mom and dad as much as possible is a primary concern for any youth worker.